Hey everyone, welcome to episode 8. If you're new to self storage and you want to get a head start in this business, or maybe you own a few facilities and you feel like you've hit a plateau, you're not moving as fast as you hoped for, this episode is for you. We're going to talk about several different tactics that you can utilize to experience all new levels of growth. All of that coming up next.
Welcome to the Storage Rebellion Show. Real conversations about building great storage businesses and becoming the kind of person capable of sustaining real freedom. Here's your host, Chris Michaels.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 8. Excited to have you here today. This episode is actually pre-recorded because this week we are in Orlando, Florida for our Storage Rebellion Insiders event. This is our higher level room for storage operators. We have 7 or 8 different industry professionals coming to hang out with us, workshop, mastermind with us. And so really excited for this week. However, that being said, there's some things I wanted to share that can help you move a lot faster in your storage business, things that I apply, and also things that some of our highest level investors in our community also apply. So I thought it could be really helpful for you. If you're new to storage, you want to get a head start, or maybe you've hit a plateau in your existing business, all the strategies that we'll share throughout this episode can definitely help you move faster. And there's going to be 3 areas that we focus on. So let's get right into it and talk about number 1. The first one is a depth perception problem. What is this? Well, it's when we believe our goals to be further into the future than they actually are. So, for an example, if you set a goal and you say, hey, I want to achieve this goal in 3 years, you'll develop patterns and habits and beliefs to fulfill that goal. If you take that same goal and you turn it into a 12-month goal, what happens is you'll develop all new patterns and habits and beliefs to help you fulfill that goal in that time frame. There's a great book called The Science of Scaling by Dr. Benjamin Hardy, who talks about this concept of taking your goal and shrinking the timeline, making it feel almost like an impossible goal. And what happens is it forces pressure, but it also forces creativity. You see, what you were originally going to do to fulfill the goal with the original timeline, you can no longer do. So do a self audit, ask yourself, what goals do you currently have? And the time frame you've stamped on them, ask yourself what you would have to do to cut that time in half. Or maybe it's less than that. Maybe you have a year and a half goal or a 2-year goal. Ask yourself, how could you actually achieve that goal in 6 months? What you'll notice is you're forced to think completely different about this goal. You have to approach it from an entirely new angle. And the more you really ponder on it and spend time reflecting and thinking about, man, how can I achieve this goal in that time frame? You'll notice that you get really creative and you also start tapping into other people, resources, and systems and strategies that can actually make that goal possible. And as you take that first step, you start to gain some momentum and you see, whoa, I'm actually capable of way more than I give myself credit for. So, again, take a goal that you currently have and ask yourself, what would you have to do differently to achieve that same goal in maybe a year or 6 months or less? The second one is your environment. You've probably heard you're the product of the 5 people you spend the most time with, and it's absolutely true. You don't rise to the level of your potential, you fall to the level of your environment. So, wherever you want to be professionally, personally, you need to surround yourself with people who are already achieving those things. And again, this is where you can do a self audit. If you're constantly spending time around people who only ever talk about the past or just talk bullshit, well, you're not going to continue growing. The standard isn't going to change. You're not going to think and operate differently. But it's also true that if you're surrounded by folks who are constantly elevating themselves personally and professionally, they keep raising the bar, they keep raising the standard, they're living the life that you want to live, you're going to become the product of that. You're going to feed off of that. You're also going to understand what's truly possible, and you're going to explore all new ways that actually allow you to move faster, that actually allow you to fulfill these goals that most people think are just crazy. But here's the thing, if the goals you have are crazy to the people in your current circle, then you're not in the right environment. So, again, this is another area that you can do a self audit on. The third one is pattern recognition. And this only happens by showing up consistently and doing the work. So, calling brokers, having conversations with owners and sellers, talking to other investors and lenders. The more that you play the game and you're out there doing the work, you'll actually start to notice these different patterns. And when you start to recognize patterns, you understand the best ways to navigate through those patterns. So, here's an example: the more you start talking to different owners, you'll start to get a really good sense of what makes them tick, what's going on in their businesses, why they're in the position that they're in. And the more you have those conversations, you start to get really good at navigating the situation and actually moving the needle forward in a way that serves both the seller and yourself. I've had people reach out and ask, "Hey, Chris, do you have a script that I can use for talking to sellers?" Yeah, you can say the things I say, but then you don't sound any different. The truth is, that's not the best approach because not every seller wants to sell to me. Maybe they just didn't connect with me. Maybe I'm in a different place in my life than they are, but maybe they connect with you better. Maybe they align with you better. Maybe they can resonate with where you are, and therefore they just would prefer doing business with you. Don't try to be like everyone else. Show up, do the work, learn how to approach certain situations, and as you continue to do that, you'll get really good at navigating them, developing your own voice, and moving a lot faster. If you're someone who is currently stuck in this mode where you're just consuming information and you think that when you know enough, then you'll be confident enough to go out and do the work. If you feel that way right now, you're never actually going to get in the game and start playing, because the only way to develop confidence is by doing the work. Think about sports for an example. If you said, "Hey, I want to be a scratch golfer," well, you can watch golf all you want and you can spend years doing it, but you're not going to become a good golfer until you go out and start playing the game. You start to see what works and what doesn't work, what felt good and what felt off. The same thing applies to business. The more you show up, the more you do the work, the more you learn. And the more you learn, it becomes a lot easier to navigate this entire path. So, all that being said, today was a short episode, but I know these things have been really helpful for me in my own business and others as well. And so, I wanted to share them with you because I truly believe they can make a difference for you. Have a great week, and I hope to see you at the next episode.
Thanks for listening to the Storage Rebellion Show. For resources, support, and a community that has your back, visit storagerebels.com. We'll see you next time.